Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to When Pigs Fly. Today we have a really special guest I'm going to share with you some quick housekeeping items. We want to welcome all of our new subscribers. You guys are freaking amazing. We are now up to 35 global nations. Wow. So thanks for shining your light here and with each other. And we love all of you. Keep it coming. Let us know in the comments if you're new, where you're from, and we will acknowledge you on our light map that we're starting. So today we have a special guest. We have a 1 hour special today with Deb Goetz, who is an educator, medical intuitive, medium, ascension guide, and quantum healer. And Deb is going to share with us her amazing story about how she got started. I know for many of you, you're starting to feel things coming on and going, well, what's going on and what do I do with this? And so we're all anxious to hear Deb's story. And with that, welcome, Deb.
Hello, thanks so much for having me. It's so great to be here with all of you and with your audience to share some really inspiring information.
Beautiful. So I think we want to kick it off. I know that the big question is, can you share with us how you got started?
In medical
Yes, in
intuition,
with the medical intuition. Yes.
there has been a thread of questioning going through my whole life from the time I was very, very young, questioning who I was, who God was, who was I in relationship to it? Why am I here? How does all of this really work? Because I had to shun the religion that I was brought up in. And I went through some years where that was very, very difficult. But with the harmonic convergence that happened on the planet in 1987 is when I didn't know at the time what was happening, but I was waking up. I started thinking differently, feeling differently about things. I was questioning more. I wanted to get into metaphysics and healing. And one day I was reading a metaphysical magazine and it was talking about Reiki. This is back in, I think this was 92, 93. So I was reading this magazine, it was talking about Reiki and how you place your hands certain places and channel life force energy of the divine. And it's like, I already do that. I do it with my kids, and that's how they fall asleep at night, and things like that, right? So I did Reiki for quite a few years, and making the story, very long story, rather short. I remember reading in the ancient text in my 30s, where one of the masters said, "The things that I do, you shall also do." And I said, "Whoa!" That rang through me like a gong. And I raised my hand and I said, "Okay, me. You said it. I believe it. I want it. So I want to heal people like you do, and I want to love people like you do. Bring it." So that was many, many years before the medical intuition really came online. And how that happened was still questioning, still learning, still, I could speak light language and I didn't know what that was. So these gifts were coming online without my knowledge, without what my questioning or asking for them. They were just coming. And one night in 2014, I was home alone reading a book. And I just had this impulse to intercede for a friend. And I knew from my religious background that that meant pray. So I prayed for this friend who was out of town, their safe trip home. And in my mind's eye, all of a sudden, I was shown three vertebrae in the middle of their back that were out of alignment, and there was a bulging disc. So I thought, okay, I guess I'll just put it all back into place. And as I was doing that, over in the corner of the room, this 10-foot golden angel shows up. I saw her in my mind's eye and I felt her. And she slowly came over to me and she embodied me. And together we finished fixing my friend's spine, and today their spine is perfectly healthy. So that was my very first opportunity, even at a distance, to do what we now call quantum acupuncture, or not galactic chiropractic,
Galactic chiropractic.
someone from a distance. So after that, I started calling my friends. It's like, "Do you have back pain or anything? Come on over. I want to see if this is real, see if I can do it again."
Yeah.
And my friends were coming over. I'd work on them on my sofa, and they were getting better. And so one of my friends said, "You have to call this galactic chiropractic." And so that's how the very first technique, if you want to call it that, was born. It came from within me and the golden angel. So after that, I still worked a little bit as an interior designer because I was afraid to quit my job that paid and, paid me and gave me insurance and everything. And I kept getting these nudges and nudges and nudges to stop futzing around and do the work, do the work, do the work. So I finally quit working as a designer and went full time as a medical intuitive and energy healer. And that was 2017. So I've been doing it full time ever since. Now I educate people in the techniques that I was shown and that came up from within me, from my past, from the future, from wherever they're coming from. And so that's my story.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And I know, so Renee, can you tell us from an energy standpoint, what she's describing? Um, like basically you were moving the energy that was, right? You were quite literally moving their spine back into place. And I know that we have a lot of curious energy folks in our audience.
Well, I think she described it perfectly because it was she was just using, following that intuition, which a lot of times we're like, we get into our head of, well, wait a minute, this is what I know of the physical body. I mean, Deb, you just embodied that whole thing, like, that golden angel embodied you, and you just went with that flow, right? It was just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Like that whole intention, and that's what's so important for us. The intention being, I mean, I love Deb when you said, okay, you said it.
Yeah.
I want to do it. Like, I want to heal like you. I want to love like you. And love was a very big piece of that as well, that I noticed, when she said that. And it's just really going, not really knowing, just being like, okay, I know that this should be straight. So let's do that. And following that whole energy. I mean, that was just an amazing story. I never knew how you would get started. Like, that was amazing. And I think that's going to really hit home with a lot of people, especially your piece of, I'm afraid to quit my job.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm being nudged to do.
Yeah.
And that's like such a massive thing, right now for people. And I love that you said, you were, I don't know if you said this on here, that you were then training other people to do that.
Definitely. Right. Right. And it's a very, very exciting process to see so many people come forward and say, I think I'm a healer too. And it's like, well, let's talk. And then I would put together a class and give them all I have over 22 proprietary techniques that I downloaded that I now give to others, from quantum acupuncture to blood purification to quantum acupuncture. Did I say that already? I don't know. But
Yeah.
there's made a list and there's like 25 of these techniques that no one else does, which is so thrilling for me and thrilling for other people to learn and use to help humanity heal, and because it's so important right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I give you credit, man. You're a baller. Because for you to just say, "Oh, this is coming through me," for some, right, that can be like a little frightening at first. But you were like, "Okay, if I can do this, then show me, let's go." And like, what a great, like, for anybody in there that's doubting their gift coming through, man, like, to really listen to Deb's story. This is so powerful, and she followed the energy and was guided, and it's that receiving it and allowing it to just rock. And I do want to dig in here too and have you talk about you. I want to talk about you as an educator too, Deb, because one of the things that I noticed about you, and this really stood out for me when I first started following your work, was that Deb, when she trains people in her modality, she stays with them and helps launch them. She promotes them. She stands behind every single one of them. And that is, and I'm not knocking, listen, I know everybody that's in the healing and that's training in a modality is doing it out of pure love. This is not to take away any of their work, but she's gone just that extra step of like holding their hand and giving them that the courage and the confidence to launch and a launch pad. And so I would love to hear a little bit. And can you talk about your golden angels?
Sure, thank you. It's the program that I created. Well, here, backing up just a little bit, a few years more. So when I started doing the medical intuition full time, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to train other people? So I asked the golden angel, I said, who was in me, I said, can I transfer your frequency that you brought me? Can I transfer that to other people? I've read about that in ancient texts where you can give someone your metaphorical cloak, right? And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I got a yes. So I did it on my own for like 2 years. And then I finally got a yes and said, yes, you can train other people and transfer my frequency to others. And within a couple of weeks, I had the medical intuitive mentoring program up and running and had 7 students to start with in my very first class. And we met every week for 6 months. And there's a manual that goes with it. So they study for a week. And then we come back onto Zoom and we talk about it. And then we practice, right? And then that goes on for 6 months and we have a graduation, they're certified. But it's the most thrilling thing because, and it's really important for people to know that if they feel called, answer the call. Because what Renee, you brought up quitting my job, and it's like, it was a frightening thing. But the energies that the fifth dimension is bringing right now is to have that courage and get out of here, come down here, live down here, solar plexus, heart, your womb space, be in your body, answer the call, and you're going to just be taken care of. When I quit my
100%.
job, I was telling Tracy this the other day, I was never in lack. Why? Because I followed what I knew my soul was leading me to do, not what I thought I should do, what society was telling me I should do, my parents thought I should do, my religion thought I should do. It's all here. We've all heard we have the answers within, right? And it's the only truth there is.
Yep. 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
want
I would encourage anybody to just go with it.
Deb, I just want to say I have the privilege and honor of being a friend of Deb's and having worked with her, and the depth and the complexity of what she sees within the body. I'm sure most people on the call know what a medical intuitive is. They can see inside the body and what's going on and look at the energies at play. And it's truly amazing not only your sight, but you bring so much love to the equation. Like Renee pointed out, it's really such an amazing process and ability that you have and are so graciously sharing. And can you speak just a little bit too, because I know so much of what you do and how you do. And I love the acupuncture or the acupuncture component that you do. And I believe that going forward, that is going to be such a kind of a big component because our energy grids are changing, how our energy fields are functioning, are in a flux of a new way. And I've watched you've worked on me and my family, and it's fascinating everything you do, but I'm really seeing that acupuncture component being so powerful in conjunction with we've spoke as well of how toning and sound are going to come much more prevalent and forward of being so profound and significant of how our bodies are transforming. So any of that you can speak to, but I just want to open it up a little more of how complex and amazing what you do and what you see.
Thank you. Okay. Well, first of all, someone might wonder how I see or how I know things. How do I see inside the body? And I'm no different from anybody else who has clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. So I have my most prominent gift or ability is the knowing and feeling. I'll get a nudge inside my body of where to go in someone's body, and then I tune into it. Oftentimes I will see something, not like x-ray vision. Some medical intuitives have this x-ray vision. They can see the spine perfectly and all the nerves and everything. I just get a general area and then I'm knowing what's going on there and what to do about it. So, and by the way, backing up just a little bit more, the medical intuitive mentoring program where everybody just graduated. So I'll be starting another round of it in the fall. So it's not on my website right now, but it will be. If anybody is interested in it, they can email me. You'll provide that later, or register for my newsletter. And I'll be sending out notifications when that program is starting again. Again, it's a 6-month program, usually run in the evenings, and it's an intensive practice and education that they'll be getting. So the quantum acupuncture, thanks for bringing that up, Tracy, is another modality that came through rather by surprise, just like the galactic chiropractic did. I was in session with a private client in my home, and I had her, she was in another state. She was energetically lying on the table. I was tuning in, and all of a sudden I see my guides generally over on my left in kind of a little forest of the trees, almost like a little fog. And out of that fog came this little Chinese guy one day. He's like 4'11", and he's got, a little Fu Manchu, and it's like, oh, I never saw you before. And every time I talk about him, I get chills. And he had this little black bag, and I knew he wanted to do acupuncture. So I asked my client, never did this before? Are you okay if we do acupuncture? And she was familiar with TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. And she said, go ahead. So he came and he had all these needles and he was putting them everywhere around her body. And it's like, okay, and I was trying to get information from him. First of all, what's your name? And I just saw all these weird letters that I couldn't put together. And I said, what is this one doing? What is this one doing? And he wouldn't answer me. And she, having been familiar with acupuncture and Chinese people, said, he's not going to answer you. That's the way they work. They just they're there, they do it, and then they're done. So it's like, okay, that was pretty cool. And then afterwards, I saw him pulling some herbs out of these cubbies and putting them in a mortar and pestle and crushing them and steeping them in hot water. So he was creating a tincture, so to speak, for her. And then an elixir as well came through that is crystalline energy. Mix that and then puts that inside their body. So that works on the deepest level of every cell down to the mitochondria and the DNA of the cellular structure. So it not only is balancing and opening up the meridians that Tracy was talking about, but it's also filling the body with anything that is needed with these herbs and the elixir. Couple days after that, I spent some time with him. I just got alone and I went to my room and I said, okay, who are you? And I saw his name come across the like skywriting in my third eye. And it was SOHTSU. Oh, So Wang Tzu. So it's TSOWANG TSU. And he goes, the middle word is pronounced Wong, not Wang. It's like, well, that's really weird. So when I got done with him, I Googled, how do you pronounce WANG? And I saw this whole 7-minute video on YouTube about a gentleman who said, my name is Wong, and it's spelled WANG. So that, even through all of my learning and the downloads of this information, I question things sometimes just because I want to know so that I can move forward with confidence in doing what I do. So he also told me during that time with him, when he gave me his name, he said, you carried my energy in the Ming Dynasty. So I was him, an ancient Chinese herbalist and acupuncturist. So I just came forward to myself in the future from the Ming Dynasty.
I love that story.
Wow.
And so that's the story about it. But more than that is how it really works, and it helps people, helps things open up from anything from depression to infertility to menstrual cramps to headaches to anything, right? It's like miraculous.
That is so crazy cool. I love that you shared that story. And I love how you describe things, Deb, because it's like, okay, in my mind's eye, whatever, it's just so people that are struggling with, well, I don't see or I don't know. It's really that beautiful knowing that, has come forward for you. Did you notice, and I'm sure you have, and I'm sort of asking this for the listeners, and you notice like when you started to do it, did you notice it got stronger and stronger? Like there was really no question, no doubt in your mind that yes, this is what's happening. And did it get stronger? Because I know we're always evolving, the techniques, everything. So, and I'm sure that's the whole point of, as you're moving forward, more things are coming in that are very proprietary to you. Have you noticed that aspect as you're moving through life and you're healing?
Definitely. And they just kept telling me, put one foot in front of the other, just keep doing what you're doing. And so it's just like, anything else. You go to nursery school and you go to grade school, high school, college. And so, yeah, thanks for bringing that up because it has been a progression. And that's why there's like 25 proprietary modalities now, because I did just that. I trusted and just kept doing them, and things just were popping in session. It's not like I had to meditate and sit and think, okay, what can we do next? No, there was none of that. It was the intention with every client session to be in love and compassion with an intention to assist on the deepest and most wondrous level possible, because everything works through love, right? And along the way, I also kept saying to whomever, the gods of my higher self, take me to the next level, whatever that looks like for me. I kept asking. Take me to the next level. I don't say that anymore because I'm comfortable where I am. There's a contentment here, and there's more things on my plate right now. But I honor every day with that gratitude of having been taken to the level that I am.
So cool. I love also that, like, when you're training, I think this is really important for, anybody thinking about signing up for the medical intuitive, and all of that. You don't just end it and be there. Like if somebody was coming to you and you're saying, okay, look, I'm moving on to this aspect, you're actually open enough where you're saying, okay, look, I've got all of these golden angels that I can refer you to. Is that correct?
Yes, I have paused doing one-on-one sessions for multiple reasons, because there are bigger things coming, in-person retreats, the medical intuitive mentoring program. The goal here is to reach a greater number of people, and rather than just many one-on-ones, although there is great benefit to them. There's great benefit in group sessions, however, too, and that's why maybe we can talk about the inner sanctuary as well. When I had felt the instinct to back off from doing private sessions, I felt, let's create a community so that people that don't have the opportunity to spend one-on-one time with me, we meet twice a month in a very private, intimate community that I created called the Inner Sanctuary, which is all about the heart. And it's the first Wednesday of every month. I do a channeling, and all the members come and they ask questions, and I just channel Saint Germain, Yeshua, the mothers, Mary, the ETs, the Andromedans, whoever comes through. And we just did our first one yesterday, and it's been going for about 3 years now, but we just started doing the monthly channeling sessions, and it was the best class we ever had. And then on the third Wednesday of every month, I do a group healing. So we worked through all of the organs. I called it the organ overhaul series that we finished up last year. It was 14 straight months of working through every single organ and gland in the body. Now we're working through the chakras, healing from head to toe with the chakra. That was the chakra series. We're just finishing that up. And by the way, all of these past classes are stored in a library, the Inner Sanctuary video library. So anybody coming on now or in the future is going to have access to all past classes and group healings, plus, of course, the new ones coming up. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I
That's,
think so. I'm just so fascinated by you.
yeah. Listen, anybody that is drawn to the work that Deb's doing and what she just talked about, gosh, what a great way to introduce yourself and follow the energy. The ones that everybody here follow the energy. So if this is speaking to you, really want to encourage you to take a test drive, get into that inner sanctuary with Deb. And you have access to the archive too, which is really cool. And with that, what you can do is you can go in and say, all right, like we say, cherry pick it, go through and see what's talking to you, and then you can consume that, and then have the benefit of being guided by Deb's beautiful energy. What a super opportunity for people to work with Deb. And the benefits of group coaching for me, I notice that they benefit from what I call side coaching. Sometimes there's one courageous soul that jumps in and asks a question, and really 30 other people were thinking it, but weren't quite able to form the words. And often too, someone will share their own experience that was unique to them, and it resonates with someone. They have a similar situation or maybe not, but it leads them to an answer. So absolutely, I'm a firm believer in group, group coaching, mentorship, guidance. Really, it's guidance what we're giving. We're sharing our gifts, and then it's, we tell everyone, take what resonates with you and let the rest go. But there's so much to gain in the group settings, and you're sharing the energy and that love. Even bigger
Exactly.
benefit, right? That's the
Mhm.
biggest benefit.
There's something really special about a group because you can feel the love of everybody's soul, their spirit, and we're creating something greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
Renee,
Yeah.
did you have some? Because I want to, before we run out of time, I want to talk about your upcoming retreat. But Renee, you look like you were going to ask a
Yeah.
question there.
I just want to know if all of that information was on the website, like if somebody was interested in all that stuff is there. But either way, sign up for your newsletter because that will always keep them right
Right.
up to date.
Yeah, so if you go to my website, deborahgoetz.com, which Patty will provide later for all of for the audience members, if you go right on my homepage, Inner Sanctuary is the top part. It's the first thing, and then signing up for the newsletter is also on the homepage. And then also booking sessions with the Golden Angels, that's on the homepage. So everything is kind of compact right there. It's a
And
good.
I just want to say again, how awesome is that? That right on your site is the ability to book with one of the Golden Angels that was, trained by you and doing, like, you don't see that. And I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of our listeners have taken a lot of, courses and different stuff. And I commend you for that because that I think is so special. And I know, things that I had gone through to whatever, that was never, an opportunity. So thank you for doing that, for the world. And I'm sure for everybody that was there. So if anybody's thinking about signing up, you're always going to get that support from her and, bookings from that. So perfect.
Yeah.
Tracy,
And
go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I just wanted to, I'm going to jump onto that because as a business owner, that is such a gift for your Golden Angels because there's so much tech in the back end of starting a business and running a business. So it is it's so cool in so many ways. And I also, like with you, Deb, you have so many different means of being in your energy, from the inner sanctuary to educating with you to just your YouTube channel has so many amazing things on it as well that you actually get exposed to a lot of what you do and therefore get the energy work on you just by watching the YouTube. You can tell I'm a fan. And I do want to hear a little bit about, I know you're pivoting into more retreats, which I love. That is a big passion of mine of kind of getting back into more human experience. Like we actually get to give each other hugs and also bring in food. Patty and I are foodies. So adding in the food component and the nature component, because we've spoken a little bit about moving into the retreat area. So if you want to touch on that, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, thank you, because this is very, very exciting. I have held very, very small and intimate retreats in the past at my private residence, and this is going to be something completely different. We have in mind a very beautiful property in Georgia that we have actually booked the rooms for it, and Tracy will actually be there with me. She's the proprietor, and it will be, the intention of it, of course, is to be intimate, small, meaningful, deep, going deep inside, finding those pieces and parts of ourselves or the divinity within ourselves that we're all looking for and searching for. It'll be a time of refreshment for the soul to take our eyes from looking outward at everything in the world that we've been trained to do and turning our eyes inward, coming down to the heart. And experiencing some miracles. The energy is already off the charts. Every time I think about the retreat and think about the property, which is extremely beautiful, we're going to be doing hiking and eating great food, having channeling, those fire pits. So we'll be spending time sitting around in chairs, maybe have a guitarist or somebody with singing bowls. What we haven't put together all of the final details yet, but this is just going to be the first of very many. And we'll only have space for, I believe, 25 or 28 guests for the retreat, and more information on that will be coming out in the coming months. So again, anyone interested, sign up for the newsletter now so that you can be in the know when we start the advertising, because it will be first come, first serve. Again, Georgia is very beautiful. We planned it for October. I wanted it to be really a special celebration over my birthday week. So it will be October 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, that like a Thursday through the weekend. And so I'll be able to celebrate my life with people that to help them grow and expand in their consciousness and grow in the love for their self-love, love for other people, for humanity, for nature. So it'll be a wonderful time. But again, that's just the first of many. I know that the retreats are just the beginning of where I will be going next. There'll be more live conferences with larger audience and larger opportunities for people to join us. So a lot of good things coming in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing this, Deb. And I made a couple of notes while you've been speaking because this you use the words greater than yourself. And for many of you who are just recently coming into their spiritual awakening, there's that, okay, this was my job. I feel guided to do this. And Deb was saying, you take that leap and you're caught. And for me, the piece that I put together, Deb, was when I said to myself, wait, the job was about me making a living and being successful. What I'm guided to do and sharing my gifts, it benefits more than just me. It's for the greater good of all. And that is when the fulfillment, the passion, just you can't you can't put a value on the fulfillment and the passion that you get. And you are fully supported when you leap. And I've been saying this recently in our community, even. I got this a beautiful download in meditation one day, and they said to me, authenticity is your currency and your attention is your currency. What are you putting your attention on? And are you being true to you and speaking your truth? And it's just so true that just when you just leap. And the second part of this that I want that you mentioned, I love it, that you feel it, and then you go. Feel, go, and then know. That is how we're operating in the 5D. And, they often hear me, I say, feel, go messy, feel, go messy, and then know. And that's important because for many of us, we had this structured thing, right? And there's rules and we have to plan and we need to know in advance. And it's no, all of it is inside of you already. And you're a beautiful example of this. And I have to say, you were doing this when all this energy around us was very dense, right? And now for anybody, when you're leaping, like when Deb took the leap, she was jumping over a cavern. And now if you're coming online and fully becoming more aware in the 5D, really it's a smaller step, and the support is there in such a big way, and we have such a momentum with this love energy. 5D is literally love energy. So I wanted to highlight those points because it's a big thing. We have to let go of that old operating system. It doesn't serve us, and there's no foundation there. And if you feel like you're swimming upstream, right? If you're struggling and going, wait, I used to be able to force these things through. The reason it's not going is because you're not going into the heart. Now we go to the heart first, and then the head knows later. So thank you for sharing those pieces. It's really important.
You're welcome. And I've observed many people, including my family members throughout life, where we have been trained to not trust ourselves. And so there's a delay in answering what we're feeling from our soul, from our spirit, to guiding us in the right direction. And then we doubt it. Then we step back. Then we think about it for 3 years. And then we are all confused. And that's why most of us don't know our purpose. How many people have you heard in the last year saying, I know I'm supposed to be doing something and I don't know what my purpose is? Well, it could be that they skipped over some of the promptings that they were hearing in the past and kind of disappointed their own souls. where and you're right, Patty, the new energy, the 5D and higher frequencies, I think we're going past
Yeah.
5.
Oh yeah.
They're all about the doing and quit futzing around. It's like why waste time thinking and doubting yourself and questioning when the inside that is we're missing the point. We're still up here trying to figure everything out. You gotta come down here, find that inner child, the Holy Spirit, the higher self, the divinity, whatever you want to call it. It's there, and it's peace, and it's youthfulness, and it's joy, and it's exuberance and excitement. And yeah, and there is a joy when you step into the unknown. At least for me, my personality is, well, let's have an adventure. So my biggest advice for anyone listening who may be struggling is to go for the adventure and just go inside. Don't doubt. Start with small things. Maybe don't start by quitting your job, but maybe start by putting up a website, or start by inviting a friend and doing a session for them to see how intuitive, what comes up for you intuitively. See?
Well said. And you just had a thought pop into my head with what you just said. There are some people that are just beginning to channel, and that is perfect advice for anybody that's just starting to get messages and channeling. Practice with a friend, because when your focus gets off you and am I doing this right? When you focus on, oh, this is going to be fun, you're receiving it more, and you're more wide open to allow it to flow through you. And so
Thank you for saying that this is not about you, because I have to tell you a story, and I hear it a lot, not so much anymore, but in the beginning I did. My very first, so when I got done practicing with all of my friends, and I put my shingle out, and my little business cards, and people were coming to my house for paid sessions. This was years ago. The very first morning I woke up and sat up in bed, and it's like, what? The woman was coming like a couple hours later. I thought, what am I gonna say to her? And I got so anxious, so scared. And I heard, this is not about you. And I put that down then, my own fears, and it went beautifully. The session went great. The right information came through. And so when we have those fears about answering our calling, we have to know it's service. It's service. It's not about us. We're a part of a collective, and we think so linearly, and we think we're just us. I live in my own fears. I live in my own head, and this is what I have to do. And I know this is my goal, and I'm going to save money, and da 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 da. But we're part of the collective. We can't separate ourselves from that. We could talk for another whole hour on just that.
Yeah.
So we're not singular. We're not alone, and it's not about us.
yeah, and it takes the pressure off you completely. And
because then the love can spring up. Sorry,
yes,
then the love
yes,
comes. Yeah.
yeah, and all our needs are met. Our wellness is met when we get into these higher dimensions, and it's true. We are totally expanding beyond. Like right now, we're in this self-realization phase. So, like for people who, like Renee and I both have clients that have absolutely said, "Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's next?" And I'm like, right now, focus on self-realization, getting to remember the truth of who you are. And all of our desires, everything is already in your heart. Your soul dropped it in there for you. So when we say follow your joy and follow your passion, one of the hacks that I came up with recently is I would say to my client, I'm going to come and visit you for 2 weeks, and I want to see what do you want me to see through your eyes? And it's interesting because I can tell if they go back to, well, what do you want to do? And I'll go, no, I'm going to come. I want to see through your eyes. Where would we eat? What do you want me to experience? And then through that, I go, you just named 4 of your passions.
Ah.
So when they take the attention off themselves, or what do you want most for the people that you love? Because whatever you want most for the people you love is your own self-reflection of you. So it's, sometimes we have to trick this noodle up here. I call it, we got to trick the noodle. And when you go to love for others, that's sometimes where your truth starts coming out, right? And childhood hobbies and curiosities. What are you curious about? And I love the word adventure, Deb. I am right there with you. I'm like, I live by rule 1 is have fun, and there's no other rules, period.
And I love, Deb, how you pivot. And I think that's really important to say, because a lot of times, we're in our head and saying, oh my God, I can't do this. Or even with a friend, like when you say, okay, I'm gonna, get together with a friend and see what comes out. Sometimes you're so afraid of being judged. But again, if you look at it, like you said, like look at it from, okay, look at how am I gonna help this person? It's not about it. It is about, okay, what am I gonna, help, this person with? And it does sort of shift. But what I think is really important is that to people to recognize, and I always say this to my clients, you're going to gain the confidence by doing. By doing, the
Exactly.
more you do, then you start to get the feedback. And if you get somebody, in the beginning, because I know, when I first started and, people would say, well, I don't feel anything. And this is before I saw energy or anything. Well, I don't feel anything. And I would be like, oh my God, I did nothing to say. I just would judge myself. But again, it's going back to exactly what you said. It's not about you. It's not, but like that person might have their emotional body shut down or whatever, or you're waking up. Once I started to see energy and somebody said, well, I didn't see any, or I don't feel any different. I'm like, that's okay, because this went right to the core where you're clearing the core. Like, trust me, in a few days, you're going to feel something. But it's, really us staying out of our head and recognizing, saying, look, we are being guided. This is, so much bigger than us. And, these golden angels and everything coming forward is really, working through us. And stay out of the head on what we think that person needs. Because, and I'm sure you experienced this, Deb, somebody comes in and it's like, oh my God, my back's hurt, I hurt down here, Deb, and you're fixing something here. And they're like, oh no, but it's down here. Well, it could be, from someplace else. So it's really staying out of our head and pivoting. I mean, look at where you started and all the things you're doing now, because it was that progression of ease and grace and like, okay, well, all right, now this is what I'm doing. And because you had that whole ability to be, okay, bring me the next thing, bring me the next thing. And I think that's what happens. We start to get comfortable. And I know for a lot of people that I've talked to, they're looking to pivot and they're not really sure what to pivot with. They're like, okay, well, I've been doing this forever. Now what? I'm like, there's been a progression. You've progressed like all this time. You're just not recognizing that. And I love that you did that. You were, okay, here, you're always asking for that next thing. And then it's like, okay, look at, I'm good here right now. And even though you're saying like, you're good here right now, you're not saying that anymore. You're still getting more. You're still getting more stuff. Like, you're still growing and expanding and bringing this to the world in such a big way to really help people in this new energy and beyond really come into who and what they are. And, again, like I mean, I honor you. I commend you for that. You're an amazing, amazing woman. And, what an honor for you to be here, but just like people working with you, like, be phenomenal. So
Well,
thank you for all that.
that was very humbling. Thank you so much for saying that. But this work is really miraculous, especially when we do get out of our own ways, right? And stop the doubting. And a good suggestion for somebody like that you brought up, Renee, about, well, I'll just call my friend and see if they'll let me do a session with them. And you have that fear of judgment. Well, what's on the other side of that fear of judgment is, what if it works?
Mm.
Right? What if it works? So again, just getting out of the fear and into the love and allowing the fear to just be transmuted, call on the violet flame of Saint Germain, or, just go inside and talk to the inner child and see what their fears are. But yeah, there's a lot to be said for people who are in that fear zone. It can be a process of trusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then sometimes that's tough, but you just keep powering through and you'll get through it. And just, again, do the best you can to stay out of your head and just allow the stuff to come through. And even if things don't come through at that moment, you might get it later when you're more out of the head. Like, things used to come to me in the shower. Really easy. Like, for a client that I saw, or like, I'd be like, okay, I got to come up and tell them this. And sometimes they'd say, well, this doesn't make any sense. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Where did I get that from? Blah, blah, blah. Where that, like, the more you get it, more people will then say to you later, oh my God, remember when you told me that? It totally happened like this. And so you're telling people sometimes things that they're not ready to hear, or they're not really piecing it together because maybe they're questioning and doubting. Okay, again, it's not about us. Like, notice I immediately went to me again, and I used to hear what you heard, Deb. It's not about you, Renee.
Right.
I would hear that when I would be doing sessions, and I'd be like, doing something. I'm like, oh my God, I see that over there. Okay, I got to be over there. Like, Renee, this is not about you. You keep doing what guy, I'm like, damn it. Like, what?
Yeah.
But it really sets you free because then you realize, like, yeah, this is not about me. Or I would question and doubt like something they'd be like saying something to me. I'm like, well, that doesn't really make sense. So like, is this about you? I'm like, well, no, like it's about them. You don't know. You know what you think you know about that person. So
Yeah.
it's, really, really getting out of our head and just going with it. And if people say it doesn't make sense, say that's okay. It'll make sense to you later.
Yeah.
Because it always does for them, whether they tell you that or not. Something will click, in their head. And I think it's just really important to remember that anytime you're questioning or doubting you, get out of that. Say, oh, that's right. This isn't about me. This is about them.
Yeah.
And doing that, like you said, what if it works? Like,
Yeah.
even when you said that, Deb, I had gotten full body chills when you said that. I was like, yes.
Yeah. And you're already uniquely qualified to be you. You're already uniquely qualified to be you. And if it's coming through you, it's in your soul and it's to be expressed, right? And often I have found that the information comes to me before I even know I need it.
Mhm.
I've developed skills and things that I was like, okay, I'm really, and you get into it. And if anything that you start chasing with a curiosity and thirst, you know, go for it, follow that energy and follow that pull. And because you don't know down the road, all of a sudden you're going to go, oh my goodness, now I have all these skills. Now I see, oh my gosh, now I can just step right into this next piece. Right. And so it does like a quilt. We have no idea what the big quilt looks like, but it's like, okay, it's time to make this patch right now. And this does connect seamlessly, energetically with the one I was on. But I have found often I get information before I really even understand the full, again, it's feel, do, and then you know it. So I love this discussion. So helpful.
Yeah. And
Um,
wait, can I just say one more thing real
yeah.
fast? It's really important when people are being nudged to do something, or when they, learn something like, oh, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to take this course, I'm going to do this, whatever. That's your soul. You're saying like, yeah, go do it. Don't then just stop. Like, okay, I'm done doing that. Okay, well, I don't feel confident, so I'm not going to do anything. You have to move forward. That's your soul pushing you into that and saying, and again, it's what I love about Deb's things. She's there to support you. I mean, 6 months of thing and doing everything, like, oh my God, that's like phenomenal to do that whole aspect. So I think it's just a matter of, if you're thinking, this is interesting to me, follow it. And don't use the excuse, oh, I don't have the money. If you really are determined to do that, now put that out there. Okay, so come on, this is what I'm going to do. We're bringing that money to us now, and you will be amazed at what starts to happen. Okay, thanks. Sorry, Trace.
I was just going to add in that we're speaking a lot to working on other people and being trained in Deb's modalities, but there's also gifts. If you just watched one of Deb's YouTube videos, because I did this with her when I started to kind of watch her. I love the galactic chiropractic and the acupuncture. And it's this concept that I've been chewing on about sharing files. So Deb, back to when you said, I want to do that, give that to me, that, out of universal intelligence, I also will look at someone and go, I want to know what they know, give that to me. So with the needles, so Deb had done, I loved what she did. I had her do a couple different treatments on me. And of course, I'm watching as she's working on me and then playing. I will be at night. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to stick a needle in myself. Where does it go? And then I pop one in and I'm like, ooh. So you can play on yourself. You can use this energy, this information, this beautiful sharing that Deb has, and play on yourself. And then really, where is the downside? You're just you're having fun. We're having an adventure. We're learning, we're expanding. So that's just such a basic, do you first. Like, no, it is about me because I'm working on me.
Yeah.
And I've had so much fun with your modalities playing on myself and then being like, oh, wait, I'm going to try that on oh, Remy wants to say hi to you, Dad.
Remy.
Keep her away. So
Favorite.
that's a fun little extra in there. Because I had a ball listening to Deb and kind of just, and I've had the privilege of working with Deb, so that as well. But yeah, or make it about you.
Right, yeah.
Thank you for talking about how you actually felt an energetic needle go into your body. Because I feel that when I'm doing quantum acupuncture on other people, it's like, oh, we just put it here. And it's like, we're going to sit with this for a while because things are really moving. So somebody will say, well, how can you do acupuncture when I'm not even there and there's no real needles? And it's like, everything's energy, isn't it? Everything's energy. So I'm creating this. So Wang Tzu has these needles that are energetic, and we're going to give you acupuncture. And there have been some miraculous happenings as a result of it. So Tracy, when you did it on yourself, you felt like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's not forget the self-healing part too. Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's huge. And Trace, when you did that, did you just say, okay, I'm gonna put this where I need it? Or did you have a specific area? You just allowed it to go wherever it needed to be?
Yeah, I don't even ask. I just watch. And I know because, obviously it's Deb's part of her repertoire. You can feel it. I actually did one on my nephew the other day and was just drawn to put it on the bottom of his foot. And it was like, wowza. Yeah.
I can feel it with you saying.
I love watching you, Deb, because you do. And it's just that one, like where you're just watching where it goes. And then it's almost like, holy Shazam. Okay. Got to sit on that one for a while. So, and I'm just saying, Deb introduced me to all of that, which was so amazing.
So great. Yeah, we're going to make sure we include in the description, though, for all of you listening, Deb's YouTube site is Deborah Goetz Medical Intuitive, and I'm going to put it in there with the correct spelling so you can find her. I know sometimes YouTube will help out a little, but because we encourage you to go in there, and there are all of her modalities are represented in there, correct, Deb?
Most of
Can you
them,
tell me? Yeah.
with over 25, no, I haven't gotten to that because
Gosh.
it's in the
Yeah.
in the course. I don't want it to give it up to the world when this is meant
Yeah.
for humans, right? So I think there's a full audio on galactic chiropractic, so someone can go in and listen to a full hour, 45 minutes, hour-long galactic chiropractic session for free. I mean,
Beautiful.
it was years ago, but then they can get the same thing live with one of the golden angels by just going to the website.
I love that. So they get a tasting, you get an essence of what to expect. And then if you want the real goodies, you're going to sign up for her newsletter.
Hey,
I think
Cool.
either way, sign up for her newsletter, because we got to be in the know and the know of all
Right.
this stuff. Like I love this.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Deb, that we didn't touch upon, or Tracy or Renee, before we wrap it up here?
I know. I'm just in awe, like of all the stuff she does. So I'm like, let me get over to that YouTube channel. Let me get on her newsletter.
Yeah. Well, Deb, thank you so, so much wow, this was just, there's so many golden nuggets in here, and this one's going to be where we go back and listen again, because there's so much information here that's helpful, just from one, recognizing your gifts, two, trusting your gifts, take that leap, and being bold and saying, show me more, and knowing that when you leap, you're caught, you're more than caught, you're supported, and the benefits are quite often bigger and better, right? So much bigger and better than anything you can imagine. It's
and one final word that I
yeah.
got this when you were talking, it's like listening to yourself and following your heart. Is that not the greatest act of self-love possible? And so you want to know about loving yourself, start listening and following.
Love that. What a perfect ending.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so, so much. And again, we will put all the information on how to reach Deb and how you can access her beautiful wisdom. And Deb, thank you so much. What a beautiful, beautiful soul you are. Thank you for sharing your morning with us. We really, really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me, all of you.
Thank you. All right. And to all of you out there, please keep liking, subscribing, and sharing with whom you deem is ready to hear us. And we love you all.